This week marks the re-release of the Pretenders' 1980 debut album, Pretenders. And while almost 30 years have passed, the band are still pretending to be relevant, just as Chrissie Hynde is still pretending to be 25. Pretenders frontwoman Chrissie Hynde moved from Ohio to London in the early 70s, while Margaret Thatcher was poised to lead the British Parliament to new heights of fashion. She formed the Pretenders in 1978. Since then, she has been the band's only continual member. This is largely due to the fact that, like a praying mantis, Hynde appears to have slept with each of her band members, an act that precipitated at least 2 of their deaths. A combination of rock, punk, and new wave, the album Pretenders made the band famous. Notable tracks include Swinging London, Tattooed Love Boys, and Stop Your Sobbing, the latter of which was a song by Hynde directed at her now-dead bandmates before she delivered the final fell blow. During 2003, the album was ranked number 155 on Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Perhaps not a compliment, since with 500 albums to name, other award winners included Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, John Tesh, and Insane Clown Posse. From a purely musical standpoint, however, some of the tracks on this album were fairly experimental. Among the features is the odd shifting of time signatures, as in the alternating 7/8/4/4 meter of Tattooed Love Boys. While considered innovative at the time, it was later discovered that the reason for the rhythmic shift was that the drummer developed rickets out of fear that the band's black widow of a lead singer was going to eat his brains in his sleep. The Pretenders are perhaps most famous for the 1983 song Back on the Chain Gang, which was their comeback single after the band experienced not 1, but 2 deaths in the space of a calendar year, both former lovers of Hynde's. In my book, Chrissie Hynde is Sexual Anthrax, I posit that the chain gang of the song refers to worker insects that struggle to appease the queen of their hive, only to die a painful death after inseminating her. According to Hynde, there is absolutely no connection whatsoever to these accidental deaths. Now, if the police would just lift this restraining order that keeps me from getting the DNA samples that I need, I'd be all over Hynde's ass like Vincent D'Onofrio on a terrible Law & Order transcript. Hey, I have a few exes I wouldn't mind pulling a pretender on. So this is Dr. Biaggi telling you to turn it up.